Hi guys, welcome back to Army is Able. I'm Army, of course, and today's topic is Project 2025. As you know, Trump has been inaugurated on January 20th, just like 4 days ago. And he's been cooking it up in the kitchen since he stepped foot into the Oval Office. Okay, so a lot of people are talking about Project 2025 and how he claimed he didn't know what was going on with it. He had no affiliation with Project 2025, but as we can see, just some of his few executive orders that he signed within the 4 days that he's been in office actually mirrors a lot of what Project 2025 is about. So I just came across this really good video. Honestly, I've watched a few minutes of it about people just kind of going over some of the topics. This is an old video, I guess, before the presidency or before the votes. But yeah, let's watch it thoroughly together, get our takes on it. Let's get it.
I've heard of Project 2025 and I've read inserts of Project 2025.
No, I haven't. Actually, I haven't heard about it at all.
No, I haven't heard about it.
I just heard Project 2025 was something that wasn't for us or something to try to eliminate us slowly but surely. I could be wrong, but I know it ain't nothing good for us.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Hello, my name is Tyrone Howard, Professor of Education at UCLA. And what I'd like to bring to your attention are some of the concerning and disturbing aspects of Project 2025 that we in the Black community should be concerned about.
Federal education policy should be limited, and ultimately, the Federal Department of Education should be eliminated.
Outrageous. That's just complete nonsense.
There's no clarity here as to what this really means. Are we eliminating resources? Are we eliminating things? And who is this being eliminated for? There's already a shortage of resources that young Black kids get. What are we going to do if we don't provide the same education resources for everyone?
I think Project 2025 is something that's going to set us back about 20 years.
Wow. I don't think enough people are educated on just how bad this 2025 thing is.
So I have to agree. Like one of the gentlemen said, like we really don't know exactly what this means in full detail. I mean, maybe you could read the document yourself. I know I haven't read it, but I'm becoming more and more interested in reading the document myself. It's at least the chapters that I am really interested in. But we do know that high performance schools do tend to get more resources. Lower income areas tend to not have, books, Chromebooks, just everyday items in the classroom. Then the teachers are having to supply a lot of that out of their own money because the department or the education system doesn't really supply those things for the students. Even when it comes down to activities or fun projects, typically the teacher has to take money out of their own pocket to do fun things for the kids, and that's even in some nice areas. So just imagine inner city, metropolitan areas where it's heavily populated minority groups. This could be detrimental, but again, I don't have enough knowledge about the specifics of what they're trying to do with the Department of Education in Project 2025 to really have a educated opinion on it. So let's keep going.
Any discussions around race and racism are now being eliminated, which to me is erasing a core part of our history.
Black history is just not Black history. It's actual the history. It's the history. It's not just Black history, because you can't go back in history and not find Black people.
You're trying to erase the history, but you're not willing to necessarily erase the legislation that holds us down on a day-to-day basis. Got it. Insane. Okay. Cool. That's a wicked game that they're playing.
I feel like they're trying to just disintegrate everything, and I don't appreciate that.
No, this is crazy. This is actually crazy. This is worse than the other one.
It's overwhelming. I can't believe someone actually took the time to put together this document that is, it's absurd. It's absurd.
The death penalty has always been highly problematic because a disproportionate number of people who are on death row are black men. This would ensure their instant death.
No, I don't vote for genocide. I don't vote for genocide. I don't vote for black men being executed inappropriately and untimely. I don't vote for any of that, never have.
I don't believe in the death penalty personally. I feel what he say, vengeance is not ours, it's his.
This is the same group that believes that the lives of, would-be children are considered. And then to become like judicial hitmen, right? It's like, it's crazy because you can't use the same God for both of them.
We have a lot of individuals who are obviously doing, time in prison and our jail systems without having gone through the proper channels of being allowed a, proper due process.
What it does really is just let black men know that we're not respected. We're still not looked at as human. This is still like an extermination.
I think the only thing that really scares me about this is the conservative administration should do everything possible to obtain the finality for the 44 prisoners currently on death row. That seems to say even if they're innocent, kill them. That's scary.
He really said a word in that little bit of time. He said basically you can't use the same God. And if you're pro-life, meaning the next topic that's about to come up, as you can see, in abortion access. But if you're pro-life and you want women to have these children because you believe in life, how can you then say that you are pro-death penalty? And just very quickly, I'm going to look up how many people are on death row in the United States. Okay, so guys, I had to look up some numbers about death row. So as of January 1, 2025, there is approximately 2,092 people on death row, inmates on death row right now. So there are 920 black people on death row as of January 2024, but it tells me that there is a total of slightly over 2,000. So black men almost make up half of the incarcerated people that are on death row. That's crazy. I mean, we already know the prison system, it's been disproportionately black, even though we make up maybe somewhere like 11 or 13% of the United States population, but we have an overwhelming and disproportionate amount of blacks and minorities in prison. But that is staggering. If over 2,000 people are on death row and almost 1,000 of those people are black, yeah, so how can you be pro-life but then pro-death penalty? And another brother said, yeah, I don't support genocide. Okay, like they really coming through with a word on this one. I really, really like this video. Just getting people's raw opinions about it. My opinion specifically on the death penalty, like I don't personally believe in the death penalty, but I do believe that God's word has to be fulfilled, because you might look up scriptures that say, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you take a man's life, men will take your life, not animals, not sickness, but if you take life with your hands will take your life. So it's like, in a sense, is it just God fulfilling his prophecy and his law of you take a man's life and really the man or the state is taking yours? But let's get into the next topic of 2025. It can be found on page 455. Hopefully y'all reading these subtitles, but I need to go back and write some notes myself. Page 455.
Liberal states have now become sanctuaries for abortion tourism. Health and Human Services should use every available tool, including the cutting of funds, to ensure that every state reports exactly how many abortions take place. It seems like they're trying to cover every door to make sure a woman doesn't have the right to choose what happens with her body. And I think it's just crazy.
I feel like they should have their choice of how they want to treat their bodies and do what they want with their bodies. So it shouldn't be up to no government to do that.
This is an important issue that we should all be concerned about, because women's rights are being taken away. This takes us to illegal and backroom abortions, where women put their lives at risk in ways that we haven't seen for centuries in this country.
They've been through a great deal of suffrage, so this is just another thing to add on to more of that suffrage. And I feel like they should have their choice of how they want to treat their bodies or do what they want with their bodies. So it shouldn't be up to no government to do that. No, I'm not. This is not something I want to vote for at all. I wouldn't vote for it.
But I want my daughters to be able to grow up. They're 6 to 12. I want them to be able to grow up and have freedom, rights.
He's already said he wants to do a national abortion ban. So this is just proof positive.
Guys, bear with me, but when it comes to abortions and everything else, a part of me is pro-choice, but the other part of me is like, okay, God is not pleased, baby. The Christian in me wants to say, okay, do it, However, women are going to find a way to do it anyway. It's been going on throughout history. Like if a woman does not want to bring a child to term, they're going to find a way to do it. It's going to be very dangerous. So this one is a sticky situation. Honestly, I guess I could say I'm for it, but I'm also like pro-choice. It's like, I'm really stuck in the middle with this one, and I could be swayed left or right. So.
The Secretary should phase out all existing income-driven repayment plans by making new loans, including consolidation loans, ineligible. There should be no loan forgiveness.
This means that your loans will be due soon, and many of them with interest and penalty and fees, so more money out of your pocket. Why is that important? Because Black people are twice as likely to have larger student loan debts than people from other races, which means that it only delays the ability to purchase homes and other wealth building strategies.
No loan forgiveness it's pretty scary. If there's no forgiveness and if all the borrowers should have to repay their loans, some people are not in a position to do that. And I don't think a lot of people can recover from the debt that college is putting on people. So, you be putting kids in a position where it's almost impossible for them to win.
Okay, student loans. Look, I went to school and I got student loans, and honey, the interest on them student loans, even as you pay, you're basically not making a payment at the end of the year because the interest is eating you alive, honey. It's ridiculous. But that's another story for another time. I'm not trying to get y'all, have y'all all up in my business. But what I can say, I just think Americans were sold a dream. Like a lot of us, we were told, finish grade school, go to college, get a good education, get a job. I know specifically my age group, once we graduated from college, it's like the faucet was cut off. The military wasn't even accepting officers with a degree. Everything completely slowed down. We were really wondering, where are the jobs? The jobs slowly but surely started to dry up as soon as we graduated from college. So now you have us with all of this debt and can't even find a job in our field. And I have to be real honest, I don't have children yet. So, be easy on me if you disagree. But what I would tell my children growing up, unless you have to get a degree, you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, you want to do something that specifically you need a degree for those things, then yes, go to college and do that. If you do not specifically need a degree for any of these jobs out here, don't go. That's what I would say. You signed your name on them loans. Yes, you do have an obligation to pay back. However, that's you telling your 18-year-old self, put yourself in tens of thousands of debt. And that's going to affect you when you're 25, 30 years old. And I need you to sign on the line at 18. Unfortunately, a lot of people weren't really thinking of the ramifications of what this is going to mean when they hit a certain age, when they're trying to become homeowners. I personally would say, don't do it. But again, I got my education, I got my piece of paper. You get yours if that's what you want to do. Don't let little old me tell you otherwise, okay?
The next administration should work with Congress to amend Title VII to prohibit Equal Employment Opportunity Commission from collecting EEO-1 data and any other social classifications in employment for both private and public workplaces. Wow.
What this means is that we will no longer have protections in the workplace that prevent discrimination, racism, or unfair treatment of people of color.
Wow. Oh yeah, we can't have that. We can't have that at all.
Egregious, overwhelming, outrageous, unfair. That's how I describe it.
May I speak candidly? It's basically a handbook for slavery.
I think that we need to vote, get out and spread the word to make sure that this doesn't happen.
I used to think that black men could never be presidents of companies like Xerox and Microsoft, but a black man became the president. This is rolling back all these things that were already established. We should find more ways to be more inclusive, men of color, women of color. I can't imagine an administration that would take us back. I could never support it.
Repeal.
Y'all, can we get into Title VII? Let's get into Title VII. Now, Trump has not yet revoked Title VII. However, he has gotten rid of DEI programs, federal DEI programs. I think he may be leaving it up to corporations about what they're going to do. But of course, we already know once the president says something, everybody else is going to follow suit. It just trickles down. That's what it is. These corporations run America. They're his constituents or the adversary. It is what it is. Guys, Title VII protects people from corporations firing you because of your race, your gender, your age, or your sexual orientation. Okay? Imagine how huge that is. I think a lot of people get caught up with, oh, DEI is only for transgenders. Honey, it's all minority groups. If you are a woman and you really don't like the LGBTQ community, you're like, oh, well, it's going to impact them. Like, no, babe, it's going to impact you too. Regardless, all these minority groups are grouped in together in this one pot, whether they like it or not. That protection is put in place to make sure you're not discriminated against based on the color of your skin, your age, your race, etc. So not only is he getting rid of DEI, saying that, oh, it needs to be merit-based hiring, the DEI was set in place for merit-based hiring, making sure that people will be hired based on their merit, no matter their skin color, okay? That's what it was originally set in place for. And it started in 1965 during the Civil Rights Movement. Like, come on. Realize that he's also wanting to get rid of Title VII, meaning companies can get rid of all of their employees of a certain age. They can get rid of all their minority employees, and they can't even be sued because he's trying to get rid of Title VII. That is huge. Just the financial gap between white and black families in the United States has been like this for centuries. Of course, white households bring in 9.2 times greater than the finances of black households. The financial disparity between white and black families is still extremely large. So this has the potential to make it worse. It's very alarming. And then some people say, oh, well, that's just going to force people or black people to get their own banks, their own jobs, their own corporations, just like the Black Wall Street. People are going to come together. I do agree. However, think about how long it's going to take to actually build it. One last point as well. I really have to be honest. I don't believe companies are going to take an aggressive firing action. However, a small and subtle change in the amount of minority groups who do climb up that corporate ladder. Just being honest.
Harmful health policy enacted under the Obama and Biden administration, such as Medicare shared saving programs and the Inflation Reduction Act.
I never thought that we would come to a time like this in America. You know, just sad.
The Inflation Reduction Act basically is a provision that will have an impact on Medicare, which would mean higher prescription costs for seniors and more money for Big Pharma, plain and simple.
I'm in a wheelchair, and I do got Medicare. So they're trying to take Medicare for us? I'm gonna be asked out because I don't have no care for my wheelchair.
Honestly, based on this, like honestly, thinking about, again, not even thinking necessarily about myself, but, you know, my grandmother, my grandfather specifically, this would directly affect him, which would be insane.
So what it means to me is poor people that have pre-existing conditions are in a world of trouble if Trump gets in office. I mean, for him to to say he want to get rid of Obamacare, and when they asked him the question, what's your plan, he said he has a concept. That's the scariest thing ever.
And I'm an asthmatic, you know, like I know what it's like to be suffering at night because, you know, you're wheezing and you don't have your inhaler. And I mean, come on now, like it's hard to I guess express like almost like the anger. I'm shaking a little bit, you know.
Reading this is definitely the most important election ever.
So of course we got to get into it. So fun fact, when Obamacare first came out, this was years ago, I want to say like 2016, I was actually working in insurance at that time, and I would speak to customers. I've had people cry on the phone to me because they had pre-existing conditions and could not get health care before. No companies would take them. So they were literally dying hoping to get health insurance, and they would cry on the phone because not only were they able to go to the doctor and get care, a lot of the time it was at a extremely reduced rate or maybe even free. On the flip side of that, I had people cry on the phone with me as well, saying that my insurance just went up so much, I cannot afford it. I have a family of 3. I have a family of 4, 5, and it is too expensive. I might as well just cancel my health care. There was not a lot I could say. I totally understood the sentiment. Trump did, when he got into office, he said Obamacare was terrible and I could have threw it away, but I decided to save it, of course, because it would have been wildly unpopular for him to take away health care for Americans. Decreasing the funds, like they said, for Medicaid and Medicare. Can he do it? Yeah. Will he do it? Potentially. We just kind of have to stay tuned for that.
The corporate income tax rate should be reduced to 18%.
So that means the people that make less money gonna pay higher taxes? No, it don't make me want to vote for Trump.
What this means is less taxes and greater profit for large corporations and fewer wages and less income for everyday workers. We already see a massive gap between what workers take home and what large corporations take home. This will only widen that gap.
So the hard-working people get less, and the people that don't work as much get everything.
If you're middle class or lower, you barely making ends meet, for real. The people with the most money should pay the most money. I mean, that's like common sense, right?
It sounds like they're stopping, or really they're adding more money to their pockets by stopping us from being able to save money.
This is wrong. This is just wrong. It shouldn't be this way.
They don't care about the little people. They just care about just making more money, whatever that looks like.
Now, of course, this is like the day-old broken record song, Republicans versus Democrats. You know, a lot of people think, oh, it is the poor people, people on welfare that are squeezing the life out of the country. And then the other half of the country says, no, it's corporate greed. You know, they're squeezing the middle because they're getting away with tax dollars. In reality, guys, it's both. And someone somewhere along the lines in history have done a great job with pitting people against each other. But at the end of the day, neither one is wrong, neither one is right. Let's check out closing remarks.
I would say take your time to read what they're pushing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really cool to watch a debate and hear a cute little tagline from time to time. But when you see what the agenda is really about, you know what I'm saying, you're probably gonna think twice.
It's not good for the black man at all. Basically any man of color, it's not. And I would tell them to educate themselves on Project 2025.
At this point, I don't even know if there's a message I could give to them, right? Like, blatant, it's obvious. What I usually tell them is you're selling yourself back into slavery for a few dollars. Because most black men, when they talk about they're going to vote for Trump, always talk about dollars.
Everybody just thinking that Trump was a good president from EDD, PPP, that Trump was going to look out for the blacks.
I mean, look, I don't think Trump really honestly cares about anybody back there anyway.
I plan to vote this next presidential election. Absolutely. People die for the actual right to vote. So if you have a chance to vote, you should.
This is my second time voting, and since I've been free, and to me and anybody around me that know what I went through, fighting to get home, and know what's going on, like, we have to vote. We just have to vote.
When I grew up, my grandfather was from the South, and it was very hard for them to vote. So no matter what, vote. We have to vote. It's important. I don't care if you gotta stand in line 5-6 hours, vote.
And at this point, it's really not even about politics. It's about character. Like, the dude is just a horrible person, right? And that's what it boils down to for me. It's beyond politics at this point.
So many elections before, black men, women didn't vote very much. We have to vote at this election. It's going to be a game changer for all of us. I use the term, I have to stop this insanity. Not only am I going to vote, but I'm going to encourage all my friends to do so.
Yeah, this was a good video. I really appreciated the raw insights of people. Let's just take a look at the comments. One person says, oh my God, this thing doesn't put America back 20 years. It puts us back into the 19th century. I was thinking that too. Real men aren't afraid of voting for a woman, and this isn't about race. It's about decency, integrity, honesty, and humanity. Another commenter says, unfortunately, I'm watching this after the election. I'm sickened and scared. I was aware of Project 2025 before the election, but it's just so interesting to revisit the topic now that Trump is in office, and we can see exactly what his agenda was and how he tried to be deceptive. So it's just really, really interesting. That's why I decided to look at this video. I'll probably will at least get the Cliff Note version of Project 2025. Just so I can be abreast and know what's coming. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. I know I thoroughly enjoyed it. Until next time, bye.